Well, howdy folks, here we are again. We are back with another mechanical video after so many months, perhaps years even, of just doing riding and training and coaching videos on the track. So after uploading dozens of videos of me with students on Circuit of the Americas and Eagles Canyon, and I think we did a couple Crescent ones too, plus Virginia International Raceway with BMW, we are finally back to do some mechanical work. So you can probably see the Aprilia over there. I haven't uploaded anything on that one since we did the valve clearance check, but yeah, this little beastie, which I call Storm & Norman, has replaced the Aprilia. Should be much more reliable, but I'll still baby it. I'll still do an oil change roughly every 200 miles. Yes, that is correct. Every 200 miles this thing will get new oil, just like the Aprilia did. I change the oil on that every other track day, and a track day is generally about an average of 100 miles. People seem to think that that's excessive, but that thing has now done 7,600 miles, I believe. 7,600 miles just on the track, not street, track only. So that's bumping off the rev limiter on a regular basis. It hasn't exploded, it's not blowing smoke, it still has gobs of power. And I think the main reason for that is the habit I got into of checking the clearances for the valves every 1,500 to 2,000 miles, because every time I checked them, they were off. Every single time I checked them, there were valves that were tight. When people check them like it's a Japanese motor, that's, I believe, why they were having problems. They just are not like a Japanese motor. You can't treat an Aprilia like you would a GSX-R 1000. You just can't do it. They can't tolerate that. The Aprilia is a garage queen. No pushing past that point. That's all there is to it. If you buy an expensive Italian motor, it'll perform really well. I mean, it'll outperform a GSX-R 1000 in terms of throttle control, throttle feel, chassis feel, and oh my God, that engine note. It's fantastic, but it'll need constant maintenance, whereas the GSX-R, you could change the oil at the end of the year and check the valve clearances every other year, and it'll last forever. But if you treat an Aprilia like that, yeah, it'll explode. And I now have, I do believe I have a log of 11 personal friends or people who've contacted me through YouTube who have said, yeah, my Aprilia just exploded. Why? Well, yeah, I believe that's why. Anyway, so that's enough of a rant. This is the girlfriend's MV Augusta. I didn't put up any videos of us restoring this, but basically she bought it from her ex, actually. He had it in a storage locker for 7 years. Everything that touched gasoline was corroded. Wiring, electricals, sensors. Oh, good heavens. The amount of work we did on this thing was incredible. But now it's beautiful. It runs really nicely. Oh, and apologies for my neighbor. He's shooting next door. Well, next door as in it's about a quarter mile away. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do some work on this thing today, or this series of videos. Specifically, we are going to fit an accessory. Not the average accessory, I must admit. It will be fitting this. This is a dry clutch accessory kit from Ducati Performance. So yeah, this thing will turn, it'll turn this wet clutch into a dry clutch. Why bother, you say? Well, a wet clutch has the fiber flowing through the oil. So this comes out here. This is a steel plate. This is the fiber plate. This fiber, this sintered metal, is bonded to the steel plate, and when you disengage the clutch, the plates come apart. When you engage the clutch, as in when you release the lever, when you ease out the lever, these plates get pressed together. There's 9 steels, 9 frictions, and as you can see, this sintered metal on both sides gets pressed up against the steel, and as a result, this sintered metal breaks down. It wears off. I mean, I've seen clutches where there were patches that were down to the metal. It's an odd wear pattern, but I've seen it. Why bother going to a dry clutch? Well, if this metal powder is wearing off, would you rather have that wear off and then fall onto the ground, or go into your engine oil? I personally would prefer it go off out of the engine into the ground, onto the ground. So that's the reason for this accessory. In addition, it actually does make like 5% more horsepower because there's no drag from the oil. Your engine is not exerting energy, heating up as much oil, and the oil is not dragging on the clutch. So yeah, that's why all MotoGP bikes have dry clutches. That's why some accessories back in the early days of World Superbike included a dry clutch kit. I mean, my RC30, you could get a dry clutch kit for that from Moriwaki because it gave, yeah, about 5% more power. So I've partially assembled this just to keep the parts from mysteriously vanishing, you know, kids and all. So we will go through the whole process of installation. So we've got the actual clutch pack. We've got the new basket for the clutch. Well, I shouldn't call that a basket. This is technically a basket, but this will go into the engine. This seal is what prevents the oil in the engine coming out. There's a groove here for the O-ring, you can see here. And we've got this. This is the new driven gear. This picks up the transmission power from the jack gear. Because remember, the V4, the Ducati V4 Panigale, is I think only the second ever street bike that has a crankshaft that rotates opposite to the direction of the wheels. I believe the first motorcycle that ever did that was the GPZ 500, which my sister-in-law has, but this is the second. The interesting thing about that is when you blip the throttle on this V4, the tail actually rises. Like you blip the throttle and the tail comes up. It's fascinating to watch. When I bought this thing, I posted that little video that actually shows that. So anyway, yeah, this is the clutch driver. It actually goes in there like that and bolts in. And this spins the clutch in that direction when the engine is idling, because the crankshaft has a gear here and has another gear up here, which then drives this clutch. So that's how the clutch can go in the conventional direction while the crankshaft is going in the reverse direction. Okay, the kit also included this clutch cover, which is kind of weird. I think this is for sound dampening material to be bolted on. It looks exactly the same as the stock, but I don't know. I might cut the Ducati emblem in here with the CNC mill or do something creative, because of course the whole point of having, well, half of the point of having a dry clutch is to be able to see the plates rotating and hear the noise. Yes, I know, it's a bit of a show-off thing, but yes, I like the sound of a Ducati dry clutch. I especially like to be able to see the clutch plates rotating. So what else do we have in this kit? We've got bearings, which has to be pressed into there. Spacers, more spacers, nuts and bolts, more spacers. Yes, here is the oil pump drive sprocket, and a bearing and a spacer. So this goes, let's see, this goes in the back of here, yeah, like that. And it rotates in the engine like this, like that. And a chain comes off this and drives the oil pump. Very similar to the RC30 actually. And spacers, more spacers, and nuts and bolts and a couple of gaskets. Okay. Oh, I do believe that goes in the back of here, but maybe. Anyway, so the instructions are all downloaded. The kit came with a full instruction set. I noticed some of the parts said you needed a special tool, for example, to push this seal in, but as we can see, that's already been done, so I don't need that special tool. I think we need another special tool to put this bearing in, but I'm pretty sure the instructions say how far to put it in. If necessary, we will put this bearing in the freezer and it'll just drop right in. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing over the next week or so. I've got time off over Christmas, and we'll take it one step at a time. And in the meantime, yes, these are MV Augusta fuel injectors that were bought new and don't work. So I had to go through 3 sets to get this little beastie up and running. Anyway, so that's probably it for now. The first step, or the first video, will include removing the bodywork, removing the rear set, and then removing the existing cover and the existing clutch, and then the process of installing the new clutch. So we will do that over the next couple of days, and I'll upload the videos on a regular basis. And as always, if you have any questions, I'll do what I can to answer them, and we will take it one step at a time. So thanks for watching.